Okay. Just the origin story of Silicon Allee?
Yes.
Okay. In February 2011, we had a meetup that we called Silicon Allee, kind of as a joke. Obviously a pun on Silicon Valley being two Americans in Berlin. It kind of took off. We didn't expect that many people to come. We were way overfilled for the tiny little bagel shop that we held it in. You know, we've had the same meetup now every first Tuesday of every month for the last 6 years. And after the first meetup, we kind of realized we hit a nerve, and we wanted to see what else we could bring to the Berlin startup scene to help the scene, and also, you know, help our startups succeed. And you know, kind of a rising tide lifts all ships. And the one thing we realized that all the news being written about the German tech scene was in German, and us as Americans very quickly saw that was going to be a detriment because no, you know, Silicon Valley VC, no London VC is going to read a German news site to find out news about which startup they should invest in. So we brought in David Knight, who, as a co-founder, who is a professionally trained journalist, and he started the blog that we're still very well known for, which was the first English language blog about the Berlin tech scene. You know, but it was a really small operation. It was very lean, it was very community driven, it was very community supported, and it didn't make a lot of money because it was a niche blog in a niche language in a niche market. But as the Berlin tech scene kept growing, we saw the opportunity to do more with the brand Silicon Allee and the team. We started focusing content-wise a little bit more on stories and more in-depth reporting on the Berlin tech scene, so not so much news flashes of who got the next funding, who's the next hottest startup in town, but more in-depth stories about how to build your business in Berlin, you know, tips and tricks from existing founders. We were actually one of the first companies to move into Factory Berlin, and we started building a startup campus of our own here in Berlin with Simon and the Factory team. The campus itself will be composed of 3 different buildings. The one that we're sitting in now and that will be ready first is a renovation of a building that was built in the early 90s. And it's a really interesting construction, and it's a very space age kind of futuristic construction, and we've really played off that theme with the interior design and the exterior design as well, the architecture of it. This building will have 4 floors of office space and 2 floors of apartments. The office space ranges from small offices up to 2 floors for larger growth stage companies. The idea, same as the concept as Factory Berlin, is to create office space that's flexible. It allows companies to grow from 2 to 200 people in one space. We have some awesome companies on board already, including Loop Labs, Drivey, Stripe, The Family from Paris, who are opening their Berlin office here with us, ResearchGate, and Point 9 Capital. Also in this building we will have our own craft beer bar and cafe called R&D, which will be the kind of public-facing cafe where people can meet up, can hang out, can work on their laptops. You know, they don't have to pay to rent a desk, they can just show up and be part of the community. We're going to have awesome coffee and awesome craft beer there, so it'll be open from early to late. Then we have the 2 floors of apartments where we're going to have short-term stay, short-term housing for entrepreneurs, journalists, fellows who who need a kind of place to land in the Berlin and are interested in the Berlin tech scene, and can kind of live and work here while they get started in Berlin. Then we'll have a various amount of event spaces, including a rooftop terrace that we can use for our events, other people's events. So it's going to be a really exciting, cool building, and that's just the first building. And then we have 2 new buildings that are being built, all really modern glass and steel construction that'll kind of complete the campus. It'll be over 13,000 square meters when it's done, so it'll be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, startup campus in Berlin. this is kind of an exciting step for us because we're putting kind of a physical home around our what was previously a virtual community. We're able to kind of extend our offerings a little bit more, host our own events in-house instead of, squatting in other people's venues and stuff like we have been doing. And so that's the present. And then in the future, what we're looking to do is actually take the brand Silicon Allee, open it up a little bit more to the community, kind of paying homage as well to our roots as being community supported, and brand the district, a district in Berlin that covers Mitte and Prenzlauer Berg as the district of Silicon Allee, so Berlin's innovation hub. And included in that district will be our campus, landmarks like St. Oberholz, Soho House, Hackischer Markt, and this whole area encompasses historically the heart of the Berlin tech scene, but also tons of new companies, old companies, venture capitalists, and what we're trying to do is bring this community closer together so we can, unite ourselves under one brand, under one voice to do things that are beneficial for ourselves and for the startup community in general. Also, you do fun things like tours and parties and share resources together, but then do really meaningful things as well, like make sure that the gentrification and bad image of startups and tech companies isn't, we can kind of get ahead of that by being proactive about it. We can lobby the government for startup friendly regulation, things like these that are really practical and really helpful to keep the Berlin startup ecosystem healthy. And we're hoping that Silicon Allee will be the voice, the kind of epicenter, the brand for that going forward, and also the first kind of landing pad for people when they come to Berlin from outside.